Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we're going to have a bit of a look at the teams and everything like that and what you should be doing with your SuperCoach side, and of course answering the question, what do we do with Tom Rockliff and Michael Barlow? That will be the main part of this video, as the title suggests, but I will touch on some other things that you should consider coming into this round as we look to hit that trade button. And first off, you want to make sure that you're ticking all the boxes as far as cash cows. A lot of the talk is about what we do with Rocky and Barlow. Do I get Johannesson in? Do I drop this bloke? What on earth do I do? But cash cows are going to make your side down the track. They're the ones making you the money that allows you to downgrade and upgrade players on the field. So before anything else, and even when considering your Rocky and Barlow trades, make sure you have Marcus Adams, Tipping Woody, McDonald Tipping Woody, Brown, Papley of course, Callum Mills, Ben Kennedy, Daniel Wells and Sam Kerridge are all guys you simply must have. There's other rookies like Davis and Hewitt's another one who's going quite well. They're going alright, but these are must-have rookies who are going to just explode with dosh everywhere, which is exactly what we need. So if you're looking at your side and you haven't got some of them, you might be able to not have one, but if you don't have a few of those guys, you're missing out and you need to get on board. So look, and as far as Johannesson goes, Daniel Rich has been named, so I personally think that would have been most people's thinking. If Rich is out, I'll bring in Johannesson. Well, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Rich should still get back to the form we picked him for. And while Johannesson has been good, sides will look to put work into him, and you wouldn't have thought he'd have as free a reign as he has. I mean, expect him to produce big numbers, but I wouldn't be wasting a trade just on that player to bring him in. So a bit sideways for my liking. But this is the reason you all clicked on this video, is to hear what do we do with Tom Rockliff and Michael Barlow. And to be absolutely honest, for the first part of the week, I was back and forth. I backflipped. I thought I had my mind up, and then I've changed here and there when I hear things, read things. It's only round 3 coming up, but it is one of the toughest choices we've had to make early in the season, because these are two blokes that, as I picked my side pre-season, I didn't even think about. Barlow dominated pre-season, lock him in, he'll be back. Ross Lyon says he's going to be back, lock him in, he's a forward. Tom Rockliff, underpriced, he's averaged, 128 or whatever it was before, dominant, get him at that price tag, lock him in. And they've both let us down. If you pick them both, don't feel stupid, because a lot of people will, and they're good picks. I mean, all we can do is pick on pre-season stuff and price tag and position, and they're good picks, but they've let us down. I'll start with Tom Rockliff. I want to spend more time on Michael Barlow, because I think the Rockliff one is slightly easier, I guess, but we're looking at these two blokes, and one we're looking to load off because of injury, another one is because of form. And Rockliff, of course, is out with the calf, apparently going to miss 2 matches. So he's scored 89, which was just so-so in a loss to the Eagles, and 48, which was just very uncharacteristic from Rocky. And that brings his break even way out to 187. The reason that's important is something I'll touch on in a sec. Do you keep him or do you trade him? I think you trade him. I know it's only 2 weeks, but it is a calf, remember. They can be really nagging and just niggling injuries. 2 weeks minimum as far as I'm concerned. And I wouldn't expect him to just come back and dominate either. So bear that in mind. And as well as the fact, I think we've got 30 trades, which is absolutely generous. Back in the day when we used to have 24, 30 is so generous. So we might be burning a trade as such, but I think it's worthwhile. 30 trades allows us to trade hard, as they say. So I don't want to really lose a premium scorer despite his scores in the first few weeks for a couple of weeks. I think you don't want to lose that. So by that manner of thinking, I'm saying trade out. You might want to hold on to him, but my counter argument to that is you save a trade, but this is when we talk about what is a trade worth. I mean, put it this way, you trade Rocky out for someone in this echelon. Do you go for a Luke Parker? I'd highly endorse that. Sam Mitchell, Robbie Gray, Tom Mitchell. I like all those options. Parker I would be picking. I think he's a great price. He's about to boom. He's in fantastic form. If you want to go left field, which I don't mind a bit of left field, and you want to, you got more pressing issues, well, look, Rockliff, his price isn't going to change because he's not playing. And you might look at Joel Selwood next week, because while all these other blokes I just mentioned, I've mentioned them because they're in great form, that meaning their price tag is going to go up as well. But you might look at Joel Selwood. His price is going to go well down. It's another week, another match under his belt, which is going to be really important to him. And I think his second half of the year will be huge. So you might look at, if you've got more pressing issues, you've got to get a Kennedy in or an Adams, and you've got to get rid of Barlow or something like that, then you might hold on to Rockliff for 1 week. Selwood will drop 30, 40k, whatever it may be. And then, you can make a little bit of money as well. So... And look, the reason I'm endorsing trade out too is because with Rocky's 187 break even, he is the sort of player who can get on a roll and just dominate, just turn out 115 pluses week after week. So with that line of thinking, if he does catch fire in a month or something, because as I say, it would be highly unlikely he returns in round 5 and just turns it on and averages 110 for the rest of the year, which we expected. You'd think he'd ease his way into it, find his form. It was clear he wasn't as fit as he could have been. He had a hammy injury pre-season. They're going to want him to get him absolutely right. That may take a couple extra weeks. Worst case scenario, you trade Rockliff back in and he's at 470, 480k. Best case scenario, he could slip around. He could slip another 100,000. So by that line of thinking, he could be a brilliant pickup later in the year. Yes, we lose a trade now, but it could save us cash down the track, and could be, as all our other cash cows beef up, or Rockliff could be very, very nicely priced by the time we do want to bring him back in. So that's my line of thinking there. I endorse trading him out for a gun, or if you don't have one of those players I spoke about before, I would endorse that. But look, Michael Barlow, this has been a really tough one, I must say. I really don't know what to think about it. It's so hard to make a call. I have made a call and I'll be making this move for my team. But I'm going to start off and ask you guys a few questions. Where will he play on the weekend? Is he injured? He didn't train with the main group on the, Tuesday session. Is he going to play off a flank? Why isn't he getting in the centre bounces? Why was his pre-season form so good and Ross is choosing to play him elsewhere? Is he no longer a pure midfielder? Is he in their best 22 these days? I think the last one we can all answer is yes, he is in the best 22 because of his value. But all those other questions, you can't answer. And I see a lot of forums and people going, oh, where's Barlow being played? Where's he going to play? Why isn't he being in the midfield? Rah, rah, rah. Well, unless you are an employee or a player of the Fremantle Footy Club, you just can't know. Unless you've got some brilliant contacts, we just cannot know. I looked at his heat map, I've looked at his stats, I've looked at bloody everything, and I'll run you through a few of those. His heat maps are reasonable, but he's just not getting the quantity. Now, round 1, he worked his way into it. 22 touches after a really poor start. He worked his way into it. 4 clangers though, 64% efficiency, and 4 rebound 50s. Slightly played a little bit more off the back flank, I think. But look, it wasn't awful. He worked his way into it. Dockers got smashed. Okay, we'll give him another shot. Round 2 was just deplorable. 16 touches, 4 clangers, 56% disposal efficiency. He's not using the ball well at all. No clearances, a big fat donut in the clearance. Now, you can look at his heat maps, you can look at his stats. I haven't seen a Freo game, which is disappointing. I would have loved to. But this is what I'm doing with Barlow. He's getting the chop. Michael Barlow, catch you later. You're out of the team. Here's the reason why. I just asked you guys all these questions. Now, do I absolutely not think Barlow can get back to averaging 3 figures? No. Don't quote me that he can't do that. I believe that he could average 100 from here on out. He could still be a great pick. But again, I'm sending out ifs, buts, maybes. There's no clarity on what Barlow can be. I'm seeing a lot of people go, oh, I'll give him 1 more week. What are you thinking? It's now or never. Price changes happen now. And people go, oh, bugger it, I'll only lose 40k. Well, look, you might only lose 40k, but Aaron Hall or Zach Merritt, two of the obvious choices you trade him to, are going to bump up 50,000. So you're actually losing minimum 90,000 because they're going to go up and Barlow's going to go down. So to me, you're looking at losing 100k. I mean, if he comes out and churns out another 80 and he's played off another flank or something like that, you're going to be spewing because all of a sudden Hall's a bit out of your reach. So Zach Merritt, all the other rookies have bumped up as well. To be honest, I think it's now or never for Barlow. You either stick with him for the rest of the year, and I believe he can find his form. But when that will be, I've got no idea. What worries me most is this stat. Last week, he attended 3 centre bounces. Now, centre bounces is one of the most important stats as a midfielder. You can line up in 20 and only touch the ball 4 times, but at least you're given the opportunity to line up at 20. Barlow's not getting that opportunity, so he only lined up in 3, 0 in the second half. That says to me that he's just not the clearance guy they're looking for. And a lot of talk about their structure in the midfield and how that's been changed up. Well, it was confirmed during the week that Freo will be sticking with this new thing that they're going through. So don't just think Ross has had enough and he's flicking the switch, Barlow, but get back to the old stuff, Barlow, get in there, mate. Apparently it's not going to happen. I'm not writing Barlow off as a player who can't be a top 8 forward by year's end. But on what we know, you have to look at what we actually know. Aaron Hall is a must. He's dominating. He's in great form. Gold Coast are flying. We know that. So what's worst case scenario? You trade out Barlow. He goes okay. Aaron Hall probably goes just as good, if not better, and we can know that with a bit of a surety. Worst case scenario, and you got to account for what could go wrong. And that is if Barlow were to stink it up again, he scores 70, again can't hit a target, he's playing outside the square, alarm bell's ringing, he drops 50,000, Hall's turned out another 110 against the Blues, and all of a sudden he's up to 490k. We're in some trouble. I know 1-to-1, we probably only, it's a 490 guy versus a 460 guy, big deal, but you've probably lost close to 100k, which is not what we want. So the Aaron Hall ship is sailing this week. I'm getting on board. The Michael Barlow one, if he doesn't score, could absolutely sink. So I think if you're looking at trade options, Zach Merritt and Aaron Hall are the ones you'd be looking at. If you don't have Hall, you have to get him, as do Daniel Wells. Ben Kennedy, I also think is a must. He's coming into my team. He's absolutely dominating, going to make some serious cash. So that is the conclusion that I came to. Again, with Michael Barlow, his break-even's 176. I do think he could be a decent option down the track, as Rockliff could be. But the fact that they're not in form right now, and we could get them back later in the year if they catch fire, which they may well. But I think, again, they may well, I say. Who knows? They may not. So you got to do what you know is going to happen. Aaron Hall is a very, very good chance to continue his good form. We're hoping, we're crossing our fingers and Barlow turns it around. We're praying that Ross Lyon just put him in the guts. It may not happen. It's as simple as that. History will suggest that just after 2 rounds, especially Ross Lyon, is not going to change things. He will give it a body of work, an amount of time to get the job done. And Barlow just doesn't seem to be in that mould. He's spending the least amount of midfield time, percentage-wise, of all Fremantle midfielders. That was the Fantasy Freako stat. I don't like it. So I like Barlow. I think he's a great pick. I don't know why he isn't producing the numbers that he did in pre-season, because he was playing great footy and it's seemingly been moved away from where he plays his best footy. Logically thinking, he gets put back to where he plays his best footy, but that isn't always the case. And I don't want to be sitting there when they play the Eagles and be praying that I hear him running through the midfield, because I can't see it changing if it hasn't for the first 2 weeks. But what I do know is Aaron Hall is a pure mid and will play through there and will hardly get tagged. Zach Merritt I'm not endorsing as highly. I think there'll be a natural drop-off at Essendon. They'll get drained eventually. They'll get more attention. But if you don't have Aaron Hall, you don't have Daniel Wells, definitely get on them. Look, I've babbled on for a little bit, but it does intrigue me, and it's a massive decision. I mean, 2 premiums after 2 weeks have let us down. We've got to trade out 2 blokes that we've spent $1 million on. I mean, that hurts, but we got to do it. So I'll be trading both of them out with the thought process of possibly getting them back within 6 to 10 weeks, but at a better price tag and saving on the money as well as getting the points in the meantime. I think when you're going through this and looking at making a decision, get those cash cows in and look at what you actually know. What you actually know. And what we know is that Barlow is not attending centre bounces, and all those questions I said, why isn't he playing midfield? When will he play midfield? Is he out of form? Is he injured? What's going on? We can't guess these things. We can't cross our fingers and hope they come through. Make a trade. If you don't have Hall, just go grab him. Lee Montagna is a bloke who's in good form. He's a bit too expensive for mine. Wait for him to drop, but you know what I'm trying to say. Bring in a Dustin Martin if you don't have him. Bring in Lance Franklin. He's going well. He looks good. But I really do think I ummed and ahed about this for a long, long time. And I'm more inclined of the two. If you want to keep one of them, I'd keep Rockliff. I'd keep him for 2 weeks and just deal with that. We got coverage on the bench. I'd deal with that. But from what I know, and if this comes back, if in 2 weeks he's turned out 2 centuries, well, so be it. I can only deal with the facts that are presented to me right now, and at the moment I've got absolutely no clarity on where he will play and when he will return to his midfield role, or at least the heart of it. But what I do know is there are better options, and I do know there's a lot of question marks. And I've had a slow start to the year, as you would have seen in my press conference. I can't be afforded to sit back and just chill out and hope that my luck turns around with him, because in the meantime I'm going to do a few trades, get some coin in the bank, and look to upgrade in the near future and improve my side. But I hope that has helped you make your decision. I may do a video on Friday about the teams. It's probably doubtful because I think I've covered it off. If you've got any questions about any other players, certainly let me know, and feel free to ask me whatever. But I think I've certainly wrapped it up pretty well, at least my thoughts on these 2 pressing issues which are dominating most forums on what you do. So they're my thoughts. I guess I'm jumping off both ships. Rocky and Barlow will be leaving Shorty Superstars, but that's the nature of the game. They're going to drop in price at some point, and look, hopefully they'll return to their best footy for their sake, but for our team's sake, they've let us down so far, and I think they got to go as far as I'm concerned. So give the channel a subscribe as well. Give the video a like. Give me your thoughts as well on what you're doing and who you're bringing in. And don't forget those cash cows. As we talk about those premiums, don't forget about the money makers. They're just as important, because down the road in round 7 and 8, 9, trade them down and get 200k. Trade one up, you get a superstar. So it's very important. I've talked enough. I need a drink of water. So subscribe, give it a like, give it a comment, and I'll see you guys soon.